Why do you think lamestream CIA-infiltrated Operation Mockingbird media isn't talking about the most important thing? There's a startling sequence of events that has taken place in the last few months of which most people are grossly unaware. It's a sequence of events that has and will continue to affect every man, woman, and child, not only in America, but around the world. And if we continue to be ignorant to the wheels of evil that continue to be set in motion by a handful of psychopathic control freaks, our history will be written with the blood of our ignorant corpses. And that's not hyperbole. This handful of men are the kind of men referred to in Woodrow Wilson's 1913 book, aptly named The New Freedom. Wilson wrote, "Some of the biggest men in the United States in the field of commerce and manufacture are afraid of something. They know that there's a power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive, that they better not speak above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it. This pervasive power not only exists today, but it's more powerful than ever. While we continue to allow ourselves to be sidetracked by the distract, deceive, and divide stage show that unfolds all around us on a daily basis, this organization consolidates its power and directs that power back toward us. There are social engineers rewiring our minds and changing our perceptions. Noted as the father of public relations, which is nothing more than a euphemism for propaganda, Edward Bernays quipped, "We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of." So what was this startling sequence of events that has and will affect us all? September 17th, 2019 was a significant day in American economic history. On that day, the New York Federal Reserve began emergency cash infusions into the repurchasing or repo market. This is the market that banks use to make short-term loans to each other. The New York Fed acted after interest rates in the repo market rose to almost 10%, which is well above the Fed's target rate. The New York Fed claimed its intervention was a temporary measure, but it has not stopped pumping money into the repo market since September. Besides, when has history recorded that the Fed's actions are ever temporary? Somehow, all their temporary measures end up taking permanent residence in the economic landscape. And to add insult to injury, the Federal Reserve has been expanding its balance sheet since September. And you would not be wrong to label this balance sheet expansion as QE infinity, which further dilutes the money supply and steals more value from the dollars that you spend your time earning. It's a massive global theft of all who hold this U.S. currency. I mention these interventions to show that the Fed was taking extraordinary measures to prop up the economy months before anyone in China showed the first symptoms of the cerveza bug. Currently, the Fed is using the historic stock market downturn and the massive closure of businesses in the cerveza bug pandemic to dramatically increase its interventions in the economy, even more than it's done in the past. Way more. Not only has the Fed increased the amount it's pumping into the repo market, it's purchasing unlimited amounts of Treasury securities and mortgage-backed securities. And of course, this was welcome news to Congress and the president because it came as they were working on setting up trillions of dollars in spending in cerveza bug aid/economic stimulus, which anybody who's paying attention knows that was nothing more than a corporate/banker bailout. Now, I said sequence of events. Exactly 1 month after the Fed started pouring cash infusions into the repo market, a certain group of connected individuals held a certain event on October 17th, 2019, that would shape the future of the entire world and lay down the blueprint for a new normal.
As a society, just forget about shaking hands. We don't need to shake hands.
Everything that comes into the house, I wipe it down, packages, mail, on everything.
Voting by mail is just an opportunity to make it easier for folks out there.
Will we return to normal? I don't think we return to normal.
Don't let the irony be lost on you that the very men Woodrow Wilson wrote about prompted him to name his book The New Freedom. A mere 6 weeks after this event, which shall not be named, came the Cerveza bug, the real title of which shall not be officially named in this video, lest the algorithms trip and unfairly remove this content. In March of 2020, the Fed announced it would start purchasing municipal bonds, thus ensuring that the state and local government debt bubble will continue inflating. The Fed has also created 3 new loan facilities to provide hundreds of billions of dollars in credit to businesses. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has stated that the Fed will lend out as much as it takes to revive the economy. The Fed has also reduced interest rates to 0. We likely already have negative real interest rates because of inflation. Negative real interest rates are a tax on savings and thus lead to a lack of private funds available for investing, giving the Fed yet another excuse to expand its lending activities. And they're always looking for excuses. The Fed's actions may appear to mitigate some of the damage of the Cerveza bug panic, but by flooding the economy with new money, expanding asset purchases, and facilitating Congress and the president's spending sprees, the Fed is exacerbating America's long-term economic problems. And you can bet that the Federal Reserve is unlikely to end these emergency measures after the government declares it safe to resume normal life. Customers, businesses, and especially the federal government are so addicted to low interest rates, quantitative easing, and other Federal Reserve interventions that any effort by the Fed to allow rates to rise or to stop creating new money will cause a severe recession. And of course, you and I are caught in the middle. Eventually, the Federal Reserve created consumer, business, and government debt bubbles will explode, leading to a major crisis that will dwarf anything we've ever seen. Maybe anything the world has ever seen. The small silver lining is that this next crisis could finally demolish the Keynesian welfare warfare state and the fiat money system. But the concern is that they'll replace cash with a global, one world digital reserve currency that will cement the global surveillance apparatus. Henry Ford was right. He said, "It's well enough that the people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." Guys, people need to understand what the Fed is up to. They have been and are involved in fueling a global scheme to steal the wealth of the world and control the people of the world by bringing us to our knees economically. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below. If you guys enjoy these videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give them a thumbs up, share them with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. And don't forget, I'm live streaming exclusively on DLive Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also subscribe to my BitChute account. If you want to support this channel, the Patreon, PayPal, Bitcoin, and Subscribestar links are in the description below. And like I said, if you want to grab a hard-hitting conversation-starting shirt from the shirt store, the alternate store link is also in the description. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.